But the good news is I can use the same setup again. Because my plan with receiving in the first half was exactly this. Try and eliminate as many of the Amazons as possible so that they'll have a harder time scoring in the second half. Unfortunately, this thrower is still around. And I feel like this might sound a bit asshole-ish, but I feel kind of bad because clearly if you're keeping... There's no reason to keep this thrower around, which means this is probably a pretty new player. And I always feel a bit
You're helping him by getting rid of the thrower.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's
You're
not...
helping.
That's not what I meant, but sure, I'm like... It's fun at the same time too because they people that haven't played Blood Bowl as long as I have, you kind of get stuck in like patterns. So newer players can see like patterns and paths I can't see, and that's always like refreshing to play against someone who, because I'm usually trying to predict what people are gonna do, and playing against someone that is unpredictable, it can be pretty fun.
You're so gonna love Dodger. You are.
Okay,
People
so that
in the chat are saying that killing people's fun too, but there isn't much inherent to Khemri that makes them really good at that.
no, and here's the thing. I've always been the kind of coach that likes to score and win by touchdowns, and that's probably partly because I've for a long time been an elf coach. Pro Elf is my favorite team, and to me, like outscoring a bashy team is kind of like a really big and fun fuck you. But the thing is, there is inherently more skill in doing good positioning than it is to just do bash and go, I'm gonna roll well.
I'm gonna roll loads of dice and hope I roll good.
But that all that said, I am not saying I'm good at positioning. Okay, you guys hang out over there. This guy's going to get down over here. This guy is going to run forward together with... actually, this Tomb Guardian is going to go stand over here. This one's going to go over here. And this one is going to surf. This blitzer. There we go. Goodbye. Okay, so well, that said, like the serves per game is going up. On the flip side, of course, I am really committed to the sides now.
Camp hitters, don't you need better positioning to get good blocks than do pass plays generally, though? They're pretty equivalent, but again, doing blocks is not the same as being a murder team.
Yeah, like, you still need to block.
There's a difference between doing good blocks and blocking 100% of the opportunities you get and hoping you kill a man.
Like, it's a very different strategy in going into a game and going like, okay, I'm going to eliminate the opposing team because I have these skills that are going to help me do that, compared to, okay, I'm going to block to make sure that my position is strengthened in a cage, in whatever, in this, or in that. Just because, like, if you're playing, like, Elfie and not blocking, you're not doing it right. It's when you're It's when you're playing too bashy that's when you're gonna lose. Okay, let's serve some more people, shall we?
You're only going to lose in the literal sense
What do you mean?
when you're trying to kill people. You see, when you're too bashy, you lose.
I can't hear a word you are
No,
saying.
he's mumbling again.
IB, please put your mouth closer to the microphone.
And open it wider.
I honestly don't think it's a microphone issue. I think it's just IB just...
It's user error.
Yeah.
But at least you can't argue that I'm wrong.
No, because we don't know if you're right.
Exactly.
Well, that's a secret.
We just default to you being a goddamn idiot because that's right most of the time.
Well, Grunty's not here.
What does that have to do with anything?
Somebody's gonna pick up the
I was
slack.
about to apologise for calling you a goddamn idiot, but
I don't know.
Okay, well... Okay, yeah, let's clean up this side, shall we? And then we'll deal with this side later. Oh, that's nice. There we go. And you go stand over here? So that the skeleton can push... Well, no, I guess fall down. Yeah, so... Like I said, my opponent, I mean, he's trying, but his downfall here is that he's playing Amazons like they can take a beating. And first of all, they can't. Because they only have armor value 7. They are really good at sustain, though. Like, it's hard to knock them down because of their dodge. But he... well... He's just losing dudes because
he's losing dudes because he's putting them in bad positions, and you have such an overwhelming strength advantage.
Yeah, and he's doing dodges he shouldn't make, and stuff like that. He should be playing safer than he is. It's really tricky for him because he went in with less players, and once Khemri has that, like that, it's not going to help him any. Because this guy has already moved.
Yeah, this guy is very new.
So what we're probably going to do is we're going to move the skeleton over here and we're going to blitz with the Tomb Guardian so we can push this line woman into this Thora if we don't knock her down on the first try. That's the plan. And then we'll see how it works out. Now, I mean, he might very... Yeah, that's freaking... That's speedball level dodging right there. If he wanted this blitzer to be free, he would have gone around that way. Okay, and before we do anything else, we're going to make this a bit safer for me because, well, I can. And I have all my guys here still. So, time to blitz with Jerry Wally of the King Slaughter. That said, I am pushing into more Amazons here. And let's see. Let's move this Tomb Guardian over here, because that way he is still closer to the action. This is going to be a 1 die, but I'll throw it because I have block. And it paid off.
Toyful Skull just said when you're playing Amazons versus a Bashes team, you want to play a denial game. You shouldn't leave your Amazons right next to the opposing team list to your advantage.
Yep. No, definitely.
That's exactly it. And again, this is sort of my point with Khemri. The onus here has been on the Amazons to play much better than the Khemri player needs to.
Yeah.
In terms of rolling block dice at each other.
No, that is definitely true, and I think, like starting out with Blodge, that means they're hard to knock down. But having only armor value 7, counting on your block sustain skills to keep you alive when you're basing someone is a bad idea. You should always be looking at armor value, because it's a 6-sided die, and if someone's throwing 2 dice onto one of your positionals, assume it's a POW. Because that way, at least, like, you need to be prepared for the worst.
That's football. You hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So you don't go, I'll put a guy here because he won't roll a POW or a push, or he won't. Or, like, sometimes you even go, this guy won't choose both down. My guy would just dodge his safe, and then the guy just goes, no.
And what he could have done here, like... Actually, he couldn't, because it would have been essentially the same. He dodged into 2 tackles, did pick it up, and then failed on the dodge out. So, good on him. I'm still going to be an asshole and keep punishing, though. Let's see. I kind of want... Let's see what he's saying.
Some guy, Orabilis, says, is it similar with any low arm value team? Like Dark Elves and Norse, regardless of bashiness? Yeah. Like most elves, like Dark Elves have got quite armor, like Wood Elves. Like Wood Elves generally on your Line Elves. For like the first couple, you'll get either wrestle or dodge rather than block. Because you just want to move your guys away and have them just like, so they can only be blitzed. Like that's the only block your opponent can do, and you just slow them down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then your like war dancers come in and will do a thing.
Yeah, and I mean usually when it comes to playing a low armor value team against bashy teams, what you and I feel like a lot of people are missing or not grasping is that you have to use movement to your advantage. Yes, I will use a reroll. Holy shit, he picked it up. My Khemri guys are so good today. You have to use speed to your advantage here. Now, Amazons does have a problem in that they're not very fast. They're movement 6, all of them. But I am really, I'm slow as molasses.
Slow as my asses.
Yeah, slow as Tom's ass, which is really slow. He doesn't have like bowel movement.
It's not as slow as my ass.
I do have bowel movement.
True.
It's take a while.
Yeah. But my team have such low agility that they can't dodge away to do anything. They have to rely on no one standing next to them if they want to move. So in those cases, Amazons are really annoying because they're hard to block down. But if my opponent had shifted to one side, really hard, and tied up the fast players, which in this case would be the Blitz Raw and the Throw Raw, try to get in that way, or just made sure that there were stragglers around, that would stop the Tomb Guardians. Like, I feel like at some point, if you want to score with Amazons, especially early, there's nothing wrong with having a line woman on each Tomb Guardian, because otherwise the Tomb Guardians are just going to walk all over you. Have them base them once, run away so they're out of reach, so that they have to spend their turn moving, and then you just keep that. And I think part of the problem here as well is he seems to be built for doing some passing with a thrower, but he doesn't have any catchers. So
there's a catcher right there.
Someone just asked how
that's right.
Because you can't really screen as Skaven.
Does he have any more?
As elf teams, what do you do? And the answer there is you try your best.
It's also like
but
once again
deal with Skaven is You score in 2 turns, your opponent scores in 4 or 5. You score in 2 turns, game ends before they get to score again. And if they make any mistake, you can score on their drive.
And
Okay,
also,
that's
like, a
what
lot of
they-
this, once
yeah.
again, comes down to positioning. It's not that you have to... You don't have to stop people quickly. It's also a case of where you can just make it really hard for someone to score. And not have them actually be able to...
Like I said with the Wood Elf lineman with dodge, you just dodge so you're 1 square away. So the only block he's doing on you is a blitz,
Well, that's initially what he tried in the first half.
and they can only move. And like Kemri are really slow, but imagine if they could only move 1 square at a time because there's always people just
That-
slightly out of reach.
That was what was happening, but cKnoor encircled them and then started killing people.
Yeah, like it's not easy.
No,
but,
it's
like-
especially if you're a new player. It's very difficult to have, like, because you want a wide open, as in you want a wide defense, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you can't really run through it. And the key to that against, for example, Kemri, is their agility. Once again, the fact that they can't dodge means that if they make a tiny hole so that someone can run through, their low movement means they can't get very far. And, for example, their Tomb Guardians won't be able to follow because they're so slow. No, that's not a good block. Well, that's not what I wanted, but okay. Someday I'm gonna knock this thrower out. Like, it's a thing that's gonna happen.
To go back to the Skaven defense.
There we go.
Skaven, like with Wood Elves, well, no, more Pro Elves. The poster children for, you can easily win a game with way less players than the other guy.
It's usually if people like you kind of want to. Well, you want to elf screen to a certain extent, but also like you can score quickly. You can score easily in 2 turns, which is a problem for most teams because that means they must hold on till turn 8. So it's more a question of, in those cases, if you can't steal the ball, pressure the ball. Make it hard for them to move. Make it risky to do stuff. Put the die rolling on them because
they want to score on the last turn of the half, and that means that you have up to 8 turns to force their guy to drop the ball. And as soon as that happens, your advantage as Skaven. Skaven are like the biggest team for punishing mistakes, just because of how quickly they can score with the gutter runners and just how rude they are.
Yeah, like Pro Elves usually win because they are better at ball handling than everyone else. And we saw that in Dark Elf game I played earlier. If someone fucks up, then you punish them. So your defensive line is basically always going to be an attempt to have the other player fuck up. Roll badly, because at some point there's going to be a snake eyes. And if there's not, well, that fucking sucks, but there you go. That's Blood Bowl. I am not going to reroll a 5. So that went, well, ooh, look at that. Hulk Horus managed to get the MVP. Level up. And Hum. Oh, well, that's nice for him. That's a line woman that didn't die. So, thumbs up. Hulk Horus and the Iron Sekhmet both got some level ups. Isn't that nice?
Someone just asked, as a noob, Saurus and Kemri seem like high strength but low agility. How does Skinks change it? Saurus was actually dead fast for being strength 4.
Yeah, that's their thing.
So if you do clear a path,
You
and
can actually...
and a Saurus can run in a straight line, they can really like mow people down. And the Skinks, they don't need a clear path because they're stunty and they also move like 11 squares a turn. Because
what do we want on this Blitzstraw? Let's go. Fuck
Probably
it. Let's
Mighty
go.
Blow.
Let's go with Mighty Blow. Let's
Yeah.
be this annoying kill team then, because as long as we're playing against Amazons, it seems to be working out fine.
Have one Blitzer be like a fast Tomb Guardian killer man, and the other one can have like grab or whatever
Yeah.
and set up pushes and
Yeah, but now, luckily for us, Hulk Horus has managed to get Blodge, which means he's now our ball carrier, and he's actually a really good ball carrier for what he is. He has short hand, so he can pick up the ball, and he's actually hard to knock down if someone were to get into our cage because of that Blodge. So things are advancing nicely here. Unfortunately, Raw Mysterio and Jerry Value of the King Lawler, I didn't do that much.
They are unfortunately like bashy men on a bashy team, and thus will never level up until you roll good with them.
Yeah.
Because
That
they're
MVP.
scoring.
that
They're not
said,
catching, they're not scoring.
this
not catching
team still
plays.
undefeated.
It's all them MVPs and casualties.
Yeah. Isn't that nice? See you later, YouTube.
Bye.
Bye, YouTube.